Hi everyone, welcome to my world of struts. I've been having issues with my struts. Not the struts themselves, they're fine. It's just getting the work done. It's just so painful to get anything done on this car using regular shops. To make a long story short, I brought all the parts that I wanted to install on my struts. You know, the boot, the bump stop, the pads, new bearing, and new shock absorbers. I brought everything to a local mechanic. And waited a month and a half, and nothing happened. He did not change them. I did not get an apology or nothing. So I went and grabbed all the parts and brought them home again. Then I looked for another shop, went to a local shop and brought everything. And then I also brought my lower control arms because I wanted to get the bushing pressed. I got new Lemforder arm and new Lemforder bushing, but you have to press them. So I brought everything to him and he did install everything. And then when I got there, I, put the struts in my car and noticed that the arms were not installed correctly. The bushing, they have an arrow, and there's an arrow on the bushing and on the arm, and both arrows have to match. There's an alignment, and he just put them however he wanted, so they're crooked. So I told him, you have to press them out again and press them in. I'm still waiting for that because he told me that he had to order a special press cup to press them out without damaging them. So yeah, still waiting for that. But anyway, he did install the stuff on the struts. So got home, looked at the struts, and then I noticed this. So this is floppy like this, and then this is also floppy at the bottom here. Not sure if you can see it, but this is all moving, and that's not right. It has to be stuck over there. So let me grab see, I have the old part here. So see how it's the boot is installed onto the bump stop. So that's how it should be done. And at the bottom here, there's a ring, and it has to be clamped. The boot has to be clamped on that ring. So it's really important because you don't want any dirt and dust to get into that. That's what gives you the longevity of the part. So yeah, I noticed that. But then I also noticed that you see this large washer at the top, this one. So when I looked at the box of old parts that he gave me, I noticed one of the washers was in the box. Then I said, well, that's not right. Then I looked at the struts and the washers were not installed. So I called the guy and asked him where the other washer was. He did not know, and did not inquire why I was asking this in the first place. But really, I was not interested to do a business with them again because it's just shoddy work. They don't care about the proper procedures. So I grabbed my struts, brought them to a local BMW, well, local-ish BMW specialist, and I asked him specifically, please hang the boot onto the upper bump stop and hang the boot also on the lower ring, and also install the rings. And by the way, I had to order a new sorry, not a ring but a washer. I had to order a new washer from BMW, $75 for one washer like this. Crazy. So I brought him everything, picked them up, and that's the state they were in. He did not care to put them back, and both sides, and yeah, they're just floppy and really not installed correctly. That's gonna get dust and dirt inside, and that's unacceptable. So I'm really fed up with shops. They simply don't care at all. All they want to do is replace your junk parts with whatever cheapest Chinese junk that they have on hand, and move on to the next car, make money, and that's it. So I'm really fed up with shops, and I'll probably get more equipment so I can do this kind of work myself in the future if ever I have to take these springs out again, because I'm done with shops. They simply don't care. And if you have a project car, I recommend that you learn everything yourself. Learn to do as much as possible, because the passion that you have for your car and the drive that you have to make it perfect, and you're excited to get the end product as good as possible, because you will drive the car. they won't drive your car. They don't care about your car. They don't care about you. All they care about is their wallet and getting things done efficiently, moving on to the next car. So yeah, sorry for the rant. It's really just tiring because I've been waiting for like what, 2 months for this, and I still have to fix this myself. So yeah, at least I got the washers here installed, and yeah. Here you can see that I fixed the boot on this strut. You see how it's firmly attached at the top, and at the bottom here it's attached to the ring, and the ring can move. You can move it if you pull it real hard, but you know, it's held properly in place. That's the proper procedure, and that's how you do it. You don't just slap it in there and hope for the best and hope that water and junk doesn't get in there. It's not good enough. Yeah, and by the way, one other thing. When you give a customer a part and there's this in it, you know, how long does it take to just do this? You know, make it nice, make it proper, do it right. Yeah, not a lot of shops have this mentality of doing the job properly. So yeah, but I will do it right. I will do it properly to the BMW specifications, and the car will ride properly again. I'm confident in that because I will do the work myself. So to install the boot on the bump stop, it's really not difficult. You only have to move it like this over and then pull it all around. But kind of difficult to do it with one hand. Okay, so I think it's done. Yeah, when I pull on it, it's not moving at all. So yeah, it's really not difficult. You just have to take a few seconds to do it. So at the bottom, it's a bit more tricky because you have to put the boot onto this ring. But first you have to pull on the ring because at the bottom here, you just can't reach it with the boot. So I use a pick with a painter's tape on it. It doesn't look great, but it works. So then I can pull on the ring. But yeah, that's good enough. So then I take a pair of angled needle nose, and then I pull on the boot like this. You have to grab a large section so you don't tear it. But yeah, you just pull on it and then move it over the ring. It takes a lot of fiddling. Obviously, it's better to do it while the springs are off. It goes without saying. But you know, if you're in my position and you have to do it after, then yeah, it's doable. You just have to take your time and you know, bring this lip over the ring. See here, I'm in the middle of doing it, and you can see how the boot just folds over the ring, and then after you just push the ring back lower into the strut assembly. So this is how it should be done. The boot is secured at the top. You know, I can't pull it, and at the bottom here it goes all the way to the bottom. Of course, it would have been better if the mechanic would have done it while he had the spring out, but anyway, it is what it is. It still looks okay, and it's properly installed now. Okay, so we are 2 weeks later, and I finally received my control arms with the Lemforder bushings pressed in, this arm here. And yeah, the mechanic followed the orientation of the arrows, thankfully, and yeah, it's working great. So yeah, it was a bit of a puzzle to figure out, you know, the order in which to install which arm and everything. But I'll show you on the other side the order that I found that works best. But yeah, there was a bit of damage here. Not sure what happened here. It wasn't there before. So yeah, and there was also this, there's a nick here in the metal. I could feel a bit of roughness here in a little edge, so I had to file it. So yeah, more carelessness from mechanic. This one, maybe it was my fault. I don't remember that, but that's for sure not something I did. But anyway, it is what it is. So yeah, I got my springs installed there. So brand new Eibach springs with the boot fitting correctly like this, with no ding in the little ridges here. So yeah, it's all working correctly. So yeah, and I cleaned a bit the what do you call it, the ABS sensor, the wheel speed sensor, because it was oily and crusty. So I cleaned it all up. I cleaned the strut also. It doesn't look like it, but it was a lot worse. And yeah, this shield at the back here was bent at the bottom here because I tested the turning the disc. So if I try to turn it like this, yeah, you can turn it, but yeah. So before reinstalling the caliper, I noticed it was a rubbing on this edge here. The mechanic bent it, so I had to push it back. No big deal, but yeah, it would not have happened if you was a bit more careful. So yeah, I'll show you on the other side. Oh yeah, before showing you, I want to show you under the hood there. Yeah, these caps. So I had an old one lying over here. Yeah, you can see the old one, what it was like, and this is the previous part number revision, and this is the new one. And yeah, there's a part number here, and they added some ridges there, and yeah, other than that, it's the same thing. And of course, I had a really perplexing and important dilemma, which was, how do I orient the BMW logo? That's a key aspect of this repair. So yeah, I opted to align it with this bolt here. So as you can see, it's aligned like this, and these bolts are both at the same angle, more or less. You can always rotate it, but yeah, all kidding aside, it's working well. And I had to use a rubber mallet to pop it in place. And these nuts are the same size, but the little shoulder thing, the washer that is integrated, is much larger in this newer revision. Not sure why. Maybe to spread the load or more or something, but yeah, so it's looking good. And yeah, look at this foam that I added. So this is just insulation for pipes and things like that. I got a gray foam because that's the only one I could find at the hardware store. But yeah, so the idea is to apply some pressure here because this is used to seal the hood, because your fresh air intake in the cabin is drawn through these grills, and it's also communicated in this e-box. So if you don't have this, okay, and there used to be a padding here that used to seal, but it's all gone now. So if you don't have any of this, you will get engine compartment air going into your cabin, which is not good. So I got this idea from a forum member called Zapas from Poland on BMW forums. Hi Zapas. And yeah, it works quite well. It seals pretty well. You can see the ridges, the marks there, where it seals against I think this upper edge here. So yeah, pretty nice. I added one also on the other side. So that's all under the hood. I'll show you the left suspension now. Okay, so I've got my workstation here, which is not looking professional at all, but I try to keep it a bit organized. You know, working on the ground is not the best, but anyway, at least I have a garage to work in, which is great. So yeah, so now I just started reinstalling all the components on the driver's side, and wow, this light won't hold. Okay, so yeah, so this part I think makes the most sense to install first. It's the aluminum control arm. It might be steel on your car, so the one at the front. So I just installed the bolt and the nut, you know, just to keep it loose, but there's not a lot of movement there. So I will tighten this bolt at the end when the suspension has bounced a bit, and you know, to clamp it in place. But yeah, so I think this is the best way to go, to reinstall this arm first, and then they call it the steering arm, which is not the same thing as the pitman arm and the idler arm there. But yeah, so the Bentley manual says to use 68 foot-pounds of torque on this nut, and it's quite a lot. And you are fighting with a or fighting against a ball joint, so it keeps spinning on you and everything. So I used a piece of wood there to rest the arm, so I can apply some downward pressure. And yeah, so I used this other piece of wood, just to push on it, and then use a wrench to turn it until I got some resistance, and then I could tighten it to 68 foot-pounds. And I actually use my foot there to hold it in place because it's quite a lot of torque. So yeah, then after that, so if you turn this, that's a ball joint, so it can pivot 360 degrees. So then you can, let me try to move this. You can move this arm, doing this with one hand, not the best. So you can move this thrust arm into position like this. Okay, and then you have your tie rod end that you can take and install there. Let me try to pivot this one there. Yeah, like this. So I'll just install the nut. Why not? Yeah, so now you just need to install the nut at the bottom there, and then torque this one, and you are all connected. And now you can take your strut and reinstall it, and align it at the top, and then rest it with these 3 holes. And there's also a notch here. You can't really mess it, so that acts as a key. So yeah, pretty simple to reinstall. I wish I knew that first. I did not do a lot of research, to be honest. I just wanted to get it done, so I went straight into it. And this is the new, not the new, but the cleaned, what do you call it? The ABS sensor thing. Focus. Yeah, there you go. So it's all clean now. Yeah, so I'll keep progressing. I'll install the strut, torque everything down, and then I can finally reinstall the wheels and see how it looks. So after 3 months off, I can finally see how the springs look like. Okay, so it's done, and look at the height of the wheel well. It's quite a difference. So at the top there used to be quite a big gap. It used to be at least, I think, double the gap there. And the springs will also settle even more over time. But yeah, so comparing it to the back, it's looking really consistent. And so the car is a really, really low stance when you look at it from afar. It's a really, really nice look. I'll show you a bit later when I get the car outside. But yeah, so really, really happy with the look. To me, it's the perfect stance. I put it in air quotes because I don't really like that word. But yeah, it's the perfect suspension setup for the E32, in my opinion, with the 16-inch wheels. This is the Style 61 from the E38. I think it's a perfect combination. You can also go with the Style 5 from the E38 also. There's a few other styles from the E38 that work really well with the E32. So yeah, in my opinion, that's a super look. And so I ran into an issue though, because I want to torque the bushings of the thrust arms and the lower control arms correctly, but I don't have the space to do it, so I don't have the clearance. And I thought of taking off the wheels and putting my floor jack under the spindle, the small steering arm under the strut, to raise it up so that the height matches with the resting position of the car when it's lowered. But it was really, really sketchy. It did not feel safe at all. I started raising it, and then the block of wood shifted a bit, and the jack moved. And so yeah, I'm not interested in that. It's too dangerous to me. So instead, I got some ramps over there behind the bike there. It's just a standard car ramps, but it's much too high. I did not measure first before buying them, so now I'm stuck with them. But I thought, if I remove the front bumper, it will give me the clearance I need to move the car on the ramps. Because I looked at what are they called? The race ramps. They are really, really low profile and super sturdy ramps that you can buy online, but they're super expensive. It's like a 450 Canadian for ramps. So Nah, it doesn't make sense to me to spend that much on ramps. So I will uh, disconnect the wiring over there, and also the washer fluid lines there, and remove the bumper entirely, and then I can attempt to raise it on the ramps that I have, and see how it goes. By the way, here's how my car looks after cleaning it during the downtime that I showed you before. It's looking a lot cleaner, and generally it's nicer to work on a car that is not covered in grease and dust and everything. So yeah, it's mostly clean there. I'm really happy with the result, and this repair worked quite well. I just had to move the clamps closer to the edge to get some more material, because the hose clamp was quite collapsed, and yeah, now I don't get any leaks, so I'm really happy about that. So I can use my headlight washing system with confidence. So yeah, there's no leaks. So yeah, and yeah, I also cleaned on this side, yeah, like all over here. So I removed this gasket over here, and I did not discover any rust. So yeah, so I cleaned. Well, it's mostly clean. You know, there's still some dust and things, but yeah, it's looking quite nice. Really happy with how the car looks overall. Okay, so after removing the bumper, I think it's going to work. You can see that the angle, while it's not, overly generous, I think it's going to clear, and it'll work. So yeah, hopefully I can move my car on these ramps, and then tighten the bushings. And by the way, I had to use a rope there to hold the two hoses for the washer fluid system, but it works. So yeah, okay, so let's get the car on these ramps. All right, success. So I just saved $450 Canadian. So yeah, that's great. So now I get plenty of clearance to tighten the bushings and look everything over. And yeah, so let's get to work. All right, so all four suspension arms are done and torqued to spec, and wow, it's quite a challenge, because you only have about a foot of height, like over here, so not a lot of space to apply leverage, and the thrust arm is 94 foot-pounds, and the lower control arm is 56 or 58. So yeah, there's quite a lot, especially on the thrust arm. So you have to push your body weight against the wheel and try to gain some leverage. Yeah, a lift sure looks appealing right about now, I'll have to say. Anyway, so yeah, but it's all done, all torqued to factory spec, and yeah, I can back out the car from the ramps and go for a drive, I guess. Yeah, so let's do that. All right, so as you can see, the bumper is back on, and I torqued everything to spec, checked the torque on the wheels and everything, and I'm happy to report that the front end is much tighter than it was, and it's smoother as well. When I go over bumps, it's not as harsh as before. So probably my shocks and or my control arms were bad before, because even with this lower ride, it's still quite smooth. So yeah, I'm still dialing the tire pressure. I'm not sure with the 16-inch wheels if you need to lower or increase the pressure from the original spec for 15-inch wheels. If you know, just let me know. But yeah, I don't remember the pressure I put, but it's a bit too firm at the moment, so I'll just lower it a bit. But yeah, it's looking really good. I have to say the ride height is pretty much perfect to my eye. That looks proper, and it takes care of the front off-road look of all the 90s BMWs. So yeah, definitely an upgrade that I would recommend. Of course, I can't speak for the long term, but so far, what a fantastic upgrade. So yeah, it's really great that reputable companies like Eibach make products like this for an old platform like the E32. So yeah, really good handling, really good ride. You can tell it's a quality product. This isn't a Chinese cheap spring. So yeah, definitely recommended. It gets my thumbs up. And thanks for watching and following along. Sorry for the slow updates lately. I've been busy with lots of house projects. You know, we get like 3 months of actual summer in Quebec, so everything needs to be done all at once. So yeah, but I'll keep posting videos, and please stay tuned for the next one. And the next one should be the LAD accumulators at the back here for the self-leveling suspension. I got new ones, so I will be installing them and making a video of the process. So thank you for watching. I will leave you with some footage of the car that I recorded during this beautiful golden hour in God's creation. It's absolutely amazing how it looks out here. So please enjoy, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.